locked it up.
Hey, thanks for clicking this morning only after school podcast. I'm Jesse Johns. Trent Kelsey was unable to do the podcast with me today, but that's okay. The podcast must go on. Today, I am here with Teejay Leeson. We're going to be talking about Black Adam with me that we just saw just last weekend. How's it going, Teejay?
Hey, thanks, Jesse, for inviting me to the podcast. I'm doing pretty good. I mean, I'm not feeling too good right now, but I'm trying to deal with my sickness as best I can. But we've been talking about being on the podcast for a long time. I've just been kind of waiting for the right opportunity to join, and here we are. And so, once again, thanks for inviting me.
You're welcome, Teejay. Thank you so much for joining me on. Me and Teejay, I've been trying to get Teejay to come on this podcast for a pretty good while now, and I was hoping Trent Kelsey, who's my other host, will be here. Us three talking to him. But unfortunately, Trent's been busy lately, and so have I. So that's why the podcast has been under delay. But that's okay. I know Trent Kelsey has not seen Black Adam, so yeah, because again, he's been a little busy. So, but me and TJ, we just recently watched Black Adam just Sunday, right?
Yep.
Just watched it on Sunday. It is the newest movie of the DCEU. That is starring Dwayne Johnson, who's playing Black Adam. We can talk about the character development for a moment. As I said, Black Adam is played by Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. When you first heard The Rock was going to be playing Black Adam, how did you feel about it?
If we're saying the first time, as in like more than a decade ago, I guess I was pretty excited about it. But as time went on, I just didn't care for it as much because time had passed, and I was just like, it is what it is.
A funny fact. I mean, it's not like ha 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 ha. That's what I'm saying. But I did not know that The Rock was actually announced he was going to play Black Adam like 15 years ago around this time.
Right.
And I did not know that because I just thought, he's training for Black Adam. I guess he wants something. He just wants to play a superhero in DC, sort of thing,
Mm-hmm.
But no, I did not notice that he actually got the part for Black Adam like 15 years ago.
Yep.
But here's the funny thing, though. Why it took you so long? Like, why did it take so long to make this movie?
Yeah, I was about to say it feels kind of late, like it was supposed to be made a long time ago. It just had that vibe about it.
Yeah, exactly. And also, I just think they waited too long. But I'm not sure if they were trying to get through like Man of Steel, Batman vs Superman, etc. Trying to get those out of the way before we finally get to know this character.
Yeah.
Because I'm not sure because Man of Steel came out in 2013, and this is around this time when The Rock announced he's going to be playing Black Adam. So.
Yeah, that would make sense then.
Pretty weird, right?
Yeah.
I know it's been about a week since we watched the movie. I know the plot of the movie, as you many of you don't know, is that the plot of the movie is that it's set place in like 1300s or something like that.
I don't know. I don't remember.
Yeah, I don't remember at this point. I mean, it's weird. I mean, it was a weird timeline.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, there's basically a bunch of these slaves that, just being slave, whatever. And then of course, this little boy, he got killed early in the movie. But we all didn't realize that. The one important thing I did not understand about this, like, how did the son, sacrifice, even though they killed him first,
Well, you mean they killed the son first?
Yeah, because you remember, Black Adam said that my son sacrificed to save me or something like that,
Right.
And you remember, because actually his real name is Tiff Adam, I think that's what it is.
Yeah.
He was not a big guy, he was a small guy, and then he got this. He went into this one place or something like that, and then he got like really buff like quick, kind of like a Shazam sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's like a similar thing to Shazam because I know in the movie uh, many of you know this is gonna be spoilers ahead, so we're gonna talk about the movie with spoilers. I know in the movie, they said Shazam, and of course he comes up like, but what's weird though? It's like all we see is a angry man saying Shazam, not a little kid saying Shazam. Turned to an adult.
Yeah. Yep. That's basically how that works.
And then several years later into the movie, of course, you got a bunch of these. I can't remember the team's name. I mean, they think she was a thief. I remember they came out and they found this little crown. I do remember that they found a crown, and then they were like, "We want this crown or whatever." And then she actually went up to the location where Black Adam was put down to sleep.
Wait. Oh yeah. Yep.
You remember what I'm talking about?
Yeah. This is like at the beginning.
Yeah, it is the beginning, and then she was like Shazam, and of course it woke up 10th Adam, and then of course 10th Adam does not know where he is or whatever because he's not realized we're in the new timeline,
Right.
And then of course everybody shooting at him, and I was like, dude, he's like he's not human,
Right. They should realize it's not gonna work on him.
Yeah, and I remember in the movie, which he said in totally different language, but I remember in the movie he said your manager's weak, and of course he's just beating up and just the living daylights out of these bad guys,
Right.
because he was a villain, he was not no hero or anything.
How was he able to speak English so quickly?
What's that?
How was he able to speak English so quickly?
That's a good question because it made no sense about that, didn't he? Because he was. I can't remember what was the language that they were speaking in the movie.
I have no idea. I'm just gonna guess Egyptian. I don't know.
There you go. Yeah, go with that, right?
Yeah, I don't know.
And then the funny thing though in the movie is that he was able to learn English,
Right.
And then of course, I will say the opening scene was crazy. The opening scene was crazy.
Yeah.
And then I know later on that Tim Fan woke up in that same girl and son's I can't remember the names at the moment, but I remember he woke up in the apartment, and then of course it just shot these posters of the DC characters like Batman, Superman, whatever,
Mm-hmm.
And then he shot Superman. I was like, and then I remember the boy was like, "That's okay. I'll fix it later."
Yeah.
Or something like that, And I remember
That's a little Easter egg though.
What's that?
It was a nice little Easter egg though, reference.
Yeah, it was. And I remember in the movie that he actually didn't use a door and he just smashed through doors whenever he wants to. That's because in timeline that he was used to, it was the way you're able to get in.
Mm-hmm. If you can do it that easily, why not?
Exactly, right?
It's like the Hulk, basically.
Yeah, there you go. The Hulk. Or Superman, just destroy things.
Mm-hmm. Although Superman at least has a little bit more common courtesy.
Yeah, that's true. He does, doesn't he?
Yeah.
I remember I can't remember. This is this one little town that he's like king of something, right? Or champion or something, right?
Mm.
You remember what scene I'm talking about?
I'm not sure actually.
Not sure.
Mm-mm.
And then I remember, he's in this area. He's this one basically having these people captured or whatever, searching for people, right? And of course, there's one guard that actually was being mean to the girl's son, and then Black Adam just whooped him. I was like, nice.
Oh yeah, that I do remember.
Yeah, and also, and then after that, then later on, I think after that it was Justice Society. I think is what the name of the army was. Because I remember there was Dr. Fate, but I can't remember. This is the other guy who is also sort of a leader.
Hawkman, something like that.
What's that?
Hawkman.
Yeah, I think it's Hawkman.
Hold on.
I seen Hawkman before. I just don't know his name. But I know Dr. Fate is played by Pierce Brosnan.
Yeah.
Uh, and you know what's cool? Like, I'm kind of glad they hired someone that everybody kind of knows. A little bit. Because
Yeah.
I think The Rock and Pierce Brosnan was like the only two characters I know who plays in the movie.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And also, I think what's the funny thing though is that Amanda Waller from the character from the Suicide Squad and the Suicide Squad, the two movies. I know she was in it for just a little bit. Like who's in the team or whatever of Justice Society, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I remember you got these the other two members of Justice Society. You got this two teenagers. And then you remember, I remember one comment the boy made was he said? I think he said something like, I don't have a passport or something like that. And then I remember Dr. Fate said, we don't need passports. We're Justice Society. Just get in or whatever.
Right.
So, so that's what's your thoughts on the opening scene and trying to get the team together?
I thought it was pretty clever in terms of like how it briefly introduced everyone without taking too long to let us know what the characters are and how they get along with each other. I thought it was pretty nice instead of just spending too much time on them, considering it's a Black Adam movie.
Yeah, because I'm pretty sure they're like hundreds of years old, on the timeline of this movie, right?
Yeah.
Because I think I remember because they thought Black Adam was a villain, right? I mean, he was at first, whatever. But as I remember, he was taking them down, and then I remember they all had to like stop him, whatever, from doing what he was about to do, whatever. Because I know all Black Adam all he knows how is kill, right? Not. But I think all the DC characters has to kill, or to save, right?
Yeah. When it comes down to it.
And then I remember in the movie, Black Adam said that told Dr. Fate, I think it was, and then I remember in the movie he said, "I kneel before no one" or something like that.
Yeah.
And I thought it was pretty funny fight scene between Black Adam and the Justice Society. I mean, at one point, I remember when we were watching the movie, I remember, so I know because Black Adam was just so unstoppable, just getting punched or whatever, right? I was like, come on, just grab him, just punch him for once, punch him for once.
Do something.
What's that?
I said, do something to him.
Yeah, exactly. I just want to see Black Adam just get punched just once, at least,
Right.
Because it was just because I just think he was just unstoppable,
Mm-hmm. He's basically like Thanos. You don't really know if he's beatable until he starts to bleed at least a little bit.
Yeah, like from the MCU. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and also, and I think I remember they didn't they didn't put him in the plane, did they? Or did Black Adam escape in that scene? Or
in the plane?
Yeah, you can remember. I can't remember if that was the scene that he got put in the plane, but he escaped or something like that.
Or did they leave on purpose? Or let
No.
him leave?
Well, you remember when Black Adam won the fight against Justice Society and they lost? The Black Adam like escaped, from them. But you remember, I think I remember they were having a plane sequence, trying to chase him and trying to stop him from killing those. Because I remember later on, the boy gets kidnapped.
Yeah, that I do remember.
And I remember that, and I remember they, of course, chasing Black Adam's trying to save this boy, but and then everybody else was like, "How you can't kill this man?" And he's like, "I'm looking first, then kill," or something like that.
Oh, that's probably what it was then. I just barely remember that part though.
Yeah, I think when you watch it a couple more times, it's more memorable. I guess you can say.
Yeah,
because very true. Before we did this podcast, I was like, I forgot some parts of this movie.
Oh yeah, I remember like a lot of action set pieces.
Oh yeah, there is a lot of action set pieces. And I think I remember there's another fight between Adam and who's the other guy?
Hawkman.
Hawkman. And I remember they're fighting in this one little apartment. And I remember in the scene he was like, "Heroes don't kill people." And I remember he walked up and just looked straight at his face, saying, "Well, I do," or something like that. And I remember, of course, like fighting again or whatever. And I remember Dr. Fate was just sitting in his chair. It's like, I'm gonna sit out on this one, you know.
Yeah.
And I remember he was clapping like this. He was like,
Which, to be fair, you'd be kind of scared if you're Hawkman if he just told you, "Well, I do," because that means he's probably gonna kill me now.
yeah, okay, because I think I remember in the movie he said that, oh, I won't kill unless one of them don't answer the question or something like that, right?
Yeah.
I think I remember in the movie, he said, "You're not. You told us you're not going to kill." He's like, "I was being sarcastic," and I was like, in my mind, I was like, "No, that's a lie. That's not sarcastic."
Yeah. Even Dr. Fate mentioned it. That was just a straight up lie.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I can't remember what was the other. There was one sarcasm joke that they made in the movie, but I can't remember what they said now. But I remember the killing. He said, "I was being sarcastic." And I was like, "No, that was a straight up lie."
Yeah, I don't remember the other one, but I do remember there was one.
Yeah, and kind of like, oh, by the way, in the Thor: Love and Thunder episode, TJ asked to join me and Trent and a few and my folks along and join us that movie. So, yeah, because I was telling TJ that in the jokes you get the whole adult jokes right in the Black Adam, but of course, and you got Thor: Love and Thunder. Compared to that, it's like childish jokes, you know.
Yep, that's what Thor was to me, at least.
And then I think later on, I remember was it the woman that said that, like it or not, you two are going to have to work together to save my son or something like that.
Yep.
So I remember that, and then I remember they went to this one location, and they finally got the son, but at the same time, the mission failed. I mean, yes, the boy's safe, but I remember the mission failed because he had to give up his power or something like that. You know.
Yeah.
I remember in the movie later on in the movie, he said that Shazam, and of course he turned back to a small guy, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then of course they froze him, not froze him, but they put him where he can't really talk for a few moments. And of course, I was like, he's gonna come back, you know, because he has to, you know.
Yeah.
So I think I remember like towards the ending of the movie, he was like, because I remember Dr. Fate in the movie was like, you die or something like that, but he didn't, because he can read the timelines, which I love, because it kind of reminds me a lot from Doctor Strange a little bit, because you know they both can set up timelines, you know,
and they both basically saved everyone.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah, because I remember Dr. Fate. Spoiler alert: he sacrificed himself.
Yeah,
and so I remember he got punched. I remember he got punched in the stomach, and then of course got killed there. I was like, and then I realized while I was watching the movie, I remember he got turned into dust, kind of like how Thanos did in Infinity War. But I was like, wait, why is he turned to dust? You know? And then I realized he's not our age or older. He's hundreds years old or whatever, right?
Right.
And then I remember Dr. Fate was actually telling Black Adam's like, I know you can hear me. You can be the hero of this world or something like that. It's your choice or whatever, you know? And I remember Black Adam finally stood up and actually yelled Shazam. And I remember that time when he yelled Shazam, he had a cape on that time, you know, because I know early in the movie he didn't have a cape.
Mm-hmm.
It's basically like a Shazam, the word I'm missing, Shazam costume a little bit.
Yeah. More heroic.
And then I remember later on, he came out, he's like, you know why I'm here, right? And then the dude was like, kick him or beat him up or whatever, you know?
Wait, who said that?
Hawkman.
Oh, yeah. I remember.
Yeah, I thought that part's fine. It's like, yep, time to go, you know?
Yep. He was like, I'm putting our differences aside, just get the job done.
Yep, exactly. And you know, Black Adam stopped. I can't remember the villain's name. I remember he was a kid. I remember he was in the open scene, but he turned into like this big monster or something like that.
Very forgettable villain.
He is very forgettable. I'll say the villain. I don't think he was really that strong. You know, I mean, he was. I mean, the character was strong, but what I mean, he was a very forgetful. So
yeah, it's like once you see him once, you don't really care about him.
Yeah, it's kind of one of those things. It's kind of like how I felt with the Mummy with Tom Cruise, like the villain, the girl villain. To me, she was kind of forgetful. Like to me, she wasn't really that strong. It's kind of like the same scenario.
Yeah. You can really tell when like writers or directors really try to make a really compelling villain, and then when they just don't care.
Yeah, it was a weird sequence, but it's cool at the same time.
Yeah.
So, excuse me. I remember there's this little chair, right? After the battle was over, Black Adam actually sat down, and I remember the lady. I can't remember the lady's name at the moment. She's like, "How's it feel, Ron?" And he just braced his chair. I was like, "Okay, you know."
For a split second, I thought he was gonna go rogue and turn heel, so to speak, turn like a villain. But then he was like, "Nah, he just wanted something else."
Yeah, and I remember. I think the ending. She said, "What should we call you?" And of course, they didn't say nothing. In my mind, I went Black Adam, and of course, it showed up the Black Adam logo at the end. You know.
Yep.
I will say at the end, stay for the post-credit scene.
Yep.
So you want to say what happens in the post-credit scene?
Well, I mean, if you're excited about certain DC characters coming back after such a long time, you might get your wish granted.
There you go. You know. Yeah, and of course, it was just announced that who's coming back. You know.
Yeah. I mean, at this point, it was kind of unavoidable anyway. It was all over the internet.
I was trying to stay off the internet when I was hearing something about it. I was like, no, I don't want to see it. I want to physically see it myself.
Yeah.
I was like one of those, and then once we I finally saw him, I was like, I knew that was going to happen. I had a feeling that was because in the comics, I know Superman versus Black Adam. Since that happened, that movie has to happen now. Come on, bring on the fight, Superman, Black Adam, bring on.
Mm-hmm. And it's cool because it's Henry Cavill versus Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson.
That will be pretty cool, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, and that was pretty cool seeing. I thought that was pretty cool, but just my opinion on The Rock being Black Adam, he could have improved more, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it was pretty straightforward in how he was acting.
Yeah, because all you see was basically Hobbs and Fast and Furious or something like that,
Right. Like he's not going to win an Oscar for this.
Oh no. No, there's no way he's going to win an Oscar for it. But you got any final thoughts for Black Adam, TJ?
Yeah, I was saying before that I gave it like a 7 out of 10. It was a pretty decent movie. It was pretty fun. I thought the humor was pretty good and the action scenes were really nice. Just the villain was kind of forgettable and maybe certain story elements didn't quite make sense, but outside of that, I thought it was pretty fun.
For me, the movie was an 8 out of 10. About like you, it was a pretty good movie. Great action, special effects. I just think the couple of parts was like, what? And the film, and like you said, the film was very forgettable. Honestly, some of these characters, I don't even remember their names.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway.
I remember them. I just don't remember their names.
Exactly. So, oh man. I forgot to say. Since I just mentioned it's called it's not DCEU anymore. It's called DCU. How you feel about that?
I guess it's just a way of cleaning everything up a little bit, simplifying things. I mean, so I guess it's not too big of a deal. As long as it works in the long run for them, I guess it's a good thing.
Right. Yeah. Since everybody is trying to restore the Zack Snyder, universe or whatever. So I remember actually call me crazy. So I remember last year when the Zack Snyder's Justice League came out. I remember the nicknames here in Justice League from Justice League.
Mm-hmm.
I did not realize it was not Zack Snyder that finished Justice League. It was Joss Whedon who directed the first Avengers movie.
Right.
Yeah, and I was wondering when the first time I saw that, I was like, why is it making it more like the Avengers, not Justice League, right? And then I realized Zack Snyder. It wasn't the one that finished it. It was Joss Whedon.
Yeah.
And Manuel did not know what happened. That Zack Snyder's daughter actually committed suicide herself, and of course Zack had to step down from filming Justice League.
Yep, it all makes sense now.
Yeah, it does. I remember you've seen the Snyder Cut, haven't you?
Mm-hmm.
Which I love the Snyder Cut more than I do with Justice League.
Oh yeah, I did too.
And I remember at the end, which was really nice. After I call it the post credit scene, but to me, it's just the ending. A good ending too, kind of set up for another one. For the Snyder Justice League, I guess you can say. I remember at the end, it said for Autumn. I was like, "It's the starter, I bet." So
yeah, that was nice.
It was really nice. So yeah, I do have one thing for you. I remember outside of this podcast, I remember we talked about the MCU kind of went downhill after Endgame. How do you feel about this? And maybe is this the DCU could be a new thing that people might just forget about Marvel? Like, what's your thoughts on that?
So no, I won't say that the DC will make people forget about the MCU because the MCU, while it's been kind of slipping, I noticed that now they're starting to kind of get things together, like with Kang coming in and talks of like Doctor Doom maybe coming in and the Secret Wars. I think at some point the MCU is going to get really crazy, and so there's going to always be some excitement there. But I think the DCU is going to also pick things up, and so basically it's just going to be exciting on both ends. I think at least that's what I hope.
That's what I hope so too. I mean, I hope it's not a big letdown, on the DCU or DCEU. For right now, the DCE is going to be stuck in my head for a little bit since everybody's used to. But anyway, like I said in one of the other episodes of actually it was Thor: Love and Thunder, the one I said, I just think after Endgame it kind of went downhill for me. Because I mean, yes, you got Spider-Man: Far From Home. Then after that, it was Black Widow, Shang-Chi, Eternals, Spider-Man: No Way Home, and you got Doctor Strange, Multiverse Madness, and then of course now you got Thor: Love and Thunder. I just think Doctor Strange 2 was a cool idea, just didn't work in certain parts.
Yeah.
But I think what's a problem with Thor: Love and Thunder that it just did not take itself seriously,
If Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania makes Doctor Strange 2 feel kind of small, then I think that's the problem.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to Ant-Man 3, Quantumania, and Guardians 3. I do want to see that. I have faith in James Gunn,
Yeah,
that he will make a good movie. So I know I like Volume 2 of Guardians of the Galaxy. I also like the Suicide Squad because I know he directed that. So
yeah, I assume he would at least make sure that he ended things pretty well with Guardians 3.
yeah, I think he'll wrap it up well,
Yeah.
So
Kind of like what the Russo bros did with like Endgame.
yeah, Endgame, it was an epic finale. I'll just say that.
Yeah.
Epic finale. Actually, that the only two top two movies that have to go 10 out of 10 is the first Avengers and Endgame.
Wait, the only ones?
Yeah, actually, those are the only two that actually give a 10 out of 10 because they're both.
It's the MCU.
Yeah, MCU.
Okay.
No, I haven't gave one of the movie I haven't seen yet of the DCEU. I have not given a 10 out of 10 yet. I give the high I gave was a 9 out of 10. That was Zack Snyder's Justice League.
Oh, okay.
But the rest were like 8, 7, or 6 or 5. So that's so. Anyway, TJ, you got any final words?
No, except that it was just nice being on the podcast talking with you about Black Adam and certain other topics. It was a nice first time for me, and I appreciate it.
Well, TJ, thanks so much for coming on and discussing Black Adam and the future of a little bit of the future of the DCEU and a little bit Marvel a little bit. So I know you've been a Marvel fan for a long time. So
yeah.
So and TJ, thanks so much for coming on this podcast and I hope to have you again on soon. Really.
Thank you for inviting me.
You're welcome. Thank you for joining me.
You're welcome.
Well, guys, this has been another episode of the After School Podcast. Trent Kelsey, we're hoping. I'm hoping you come back on this podcast soon, and hopefully us three would talk about something this next time. And yeah, definitely check out Black Adam if you haven't seen it yet. Definitely go see it, or you can wait on HBO Max. I heard it's supposed to come out in January. So, well, this is Jesse Johns,
and this is Teejay Leeson. This one's for Trent, and away we go.
Goodbye.